The Big Whack presents Buffalo on the Rise, sponsored by Dr. Kaplansky Dental Implants. Get new permanent teeth in 24 hours with our exclusive Teeth Now process. Welcome to the television show devoted to local business, Buffalo on the Rise, with your host, Joe Chili. There's an entrepreneurial spirit in Western New York that's putting our area on the cusp of greatness. Each week, Buffalo on the Rise features local business leaders and decision makers who are shaping our future. If it's about local business, we'll talk about it right here, right now, during Buffalo on the Rise.
I'm Joe Chili on this edition of The Big Whack Presents Buffalo on the Rise. If you're afraid to smile, but are afraid to go to the dentist, Dr. Kaplansky is here to tell you everything will be okay. When it says Made in America, Mark Andol makes sure that is true for everything he sells. Find out how you can support our country. If you're suffering from hearing loss, you should find out how the team at Diversified Hearing can help. All on this edition of The Big Whack Presents Buffalo on the Rise. I'm Joe Chili. You can listen to me mornings on The Big Whack. Joining us today on The Big Whack's Buffalo on the Rise is Dr. Kaplansky. Doctor, I look at some of the certifications here. I look after your name and it looks like the alphabet, you know, with all the different things. Sure. But board certified in implant dentistry, diplomat of the American Board of Oral Implantology. What is it to be a diplomat? What does that exactly mean?
It was a lot of hard work, Joe, so to get to that point. Yes, absolutely. So to become a diplomat of the board, you have to not only perform thousands of implant surgeries, you have to take countless hours of continuing education, you have to pass a rigorous 3-hour written test, and you have to present 7 cases, I believe, your 7 surgeries to the board and defend them in front of people. So it's an oral exam that you have to take.
It's a little bit too much of an examination, I think, for me, but and I'm sure all of these things are costly as well. It's something that you have to prepare for.
I will tell you the most cost is the cost of what we would call being away from the family, being away from the office. That's where the most, because you have to attend these meetings, you have to go to classes, you have to travel a lot. But I have absolutely no regret. It was a fantastic process, and it gives you a sense of accomplishment that nothing else would.
And you have another family member that is probably going to go into dentistry, right, in school right now.
My son is a D3 in dental school in Buffalo, and I'm very proud of him.
Yeah, and that's something to be proud of, because not everybody wants to go into the family profession, if you will. You know, Doctor, there's so many different things and different firms and different kinds of individuals that are talking about dentistry, and national firms too. You know, when you see for me, when I see something come in like a national firm, I think of it in terms of, like, Buffalo is known for its hole-in-the-wall restaurants, right. The small restaurants that make it unique, you know what I mean? Yeah. Not the big national firms, you know, you can get those anywhere. And I kind of think it must be the same way with dentistry.
It's a great comparison. So the movement in dentistry is consolidation, so a lot of offices are very corporate right now. We have remained privately owned. It's my private business, and we are very proud of it. And it separates us from the rest because the quality of the work is higher, the attention to detail is better, and patients in general are happier because they see the same provider every time they come. They bond to us, we have a relationship with them, and they feel like family when they come in.
How many implant surgeries do you think you've done?
We do on average about between 800 and 1,000 implants every year.
Really?
Yes.
800 and 1,000. And these individuals come back to you so that you can check to make sure everything is going well?
Yes, we encourage patients to do that every 4 to 6 months. Absolutely.
What, to the average viewer right now, that is dealing with dentures or has dealt with dentures in the past, that has broken teeth, that have had an accident, that have gum disease or whatever it might be, what's their first step?
Very easy, just pick up the phone or send us an email from our website. And the first step usually is a consultation. They come in and they talk to our implant coordinator. We do either a 3D scan, that's a CAT scan, at no charge to the patient, or we take a panoramic x-ray, again, at no charge to the patient. And they get to sit down and talk with implant coordinator and me. Sometimes that consultation lasts for an hour or longer. And we spend all the time with them to pretty much explain all their options, go over what the process would be to do the treatment, and they leave with a very good knowledge and understanding of what to expect. But that's their first step, right? And then usually after the initial consultation, we schedule what's called a records appointment. That's when they come in and we take photographs, we take digital scans of their mouth, of their face. All that gets digitized in the computer, and then we use that to build up their digital sort of a case virtually, and then that goes into surgery.
And this is an evolving process that you're doing, right? The Teeth Now process isn't just something that's stoic, it's fluid, right?
No, absolutely. So the Teeth Now process means that they get their permanent, meaning non-removable teeth within 24 hours of a surgery. Then they go through the healing, and then they get their final or permanent appliance, usually about 5 months after the initial procedure. But they have fixed teeth throughout the entire time. So the process is evolving. There's constantly updates on digital technology out there, and we are right at the cutting edge of all new and digital technologies out there. So we incorporate them into our process constantly.
The other thing I have to say that is very impressive to me, not only all the certifications that you have, but when I look you up online, to see the positive testimonials from people, even down to the fact of saying that you're very affable, you're very nice, you're a great guy. I mean, when they talk about these things, it's more than just what you do professionally, it's how you treat them personally.
Thank you, Joe. It's really humbling to see how many of our patients say good things about us, and we work hard. It's not just me, it's the entire office, my entire team. So all my assistants and hygienists and office staff, we all work towards the same goal, and it is to make patients happy.
And if people are told they're not a candidate for implants, you can tell them maybe differently that they may still be a candidate, correct?
Absolutely. So there's still a small percentage that may not qualify, but most of the time we say, yes, you are a candidate.
Well, that's great. I mean, I think to me, it sounds like it's a simplified process. It is something, when I hear implants, kind of scares me a little bit, but your process seems to be something that I would be agreeable to. So I think that it's something that you've done very well, and I compliment you on that.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
For more information and answers to your questions, contact Dentistry by Dr. Kaplansky by calling 716-772-7500 or go to drkaplansky.com. Promotional and sponsorship consideration provided by the following. I'm Joe Chile. You can listen to me mornings on The Big Weck. Joining us today in The Big Weck's Buffalo on the Rise is Mark Andol from the Made in America store. Mark, how you doing?
Good. How you doing today?
Good. Good to see you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Oh, glad to have you on. You know, regardless of snow, sleet, ice, it's T-shirts almost all year long. You know,
Always.
Really?
Yeah,
No,
always,
you
yeah.
never feel cold.
Everything's 100% made in America on me.
That's what's important. And we're talking about a 14th anniversary coming up, too, right?
Yeah, hard to believe. 14 years coming up this April, and we'll celebrate that in May on Armed Forces Day.
Really? That's great. 14 years. What has changed? What do you think is the biggest thing that's changed in the 14 years that you have been doing this?
We started with 15 products April 3rd, 2010, and we're at just almost 15,000 products.
Really?
Yeah, we support well over 500 privately owned American manufacturers. Not a lot. Made in America is still got to be made more important, but I think we've come a long way. I think people do realize that made in America, it's the fabric of the country, And the job you save by buying Made in America or local might be your own. So,
do you have a lot of, you get tour buses and things like this that
Yes.
come in, and how do people plan this up? Do you have people coming from all over the area, outside of the area? What kind of what comprises these groups?
yeah, the first bus that came ran over to Bush's out front, and I said, "Oh my God, you brought a bus here." Yeah, we're from the breadbasket of America. We love what you're doing, But then Dorothy Fortney came along. She actually met her the day we opened the store, and Dorothy leads our business-to-business tourism leg and works with Buffalo. Leah and our team, and brings people to Western New York. So we sell the area, but she goes to the American Bus Association show and many of these shows and sells the area. They love Niagara Falls, and now we're second. They love the Made in America store. We're the only one in the world, Joe. So it's nice. They come and they have a good time, and we'll feed them. We let them see what Americans are making.
How many stores do you have?
Yeah, we have 4. One's just a seasonal store, Niagara Falls, but we do have the flagship store in Elma. McKinley Mall, we had 2 stores, and one Niagara Falls on the second floor, which is more of a tourism store, souvenir shop.
When you have bus tours and things like this come in, is it year-round? Is it a very seasonal thing?
Yeah, it's seasonal. They run from about April right to November. Last year we hit 170 plus buses in one year from every state. We've got a big map on the wall at the store. They've come visited from every store. Every state, and they're great Americans. They love what we're doing, and we have a lot of fun.
Are we talking church groups, travel groups, seniors? What are we talking about here?
Yeah, in the fall they'll see the foliage on the East Coast.
Oh yeah.
They might go. They'll go up to Canada. They'll go different areas. We're a stop on their destination. Some are overnight trips. Some are casino runs. Some are 12, 14-day runs. From down south, we've had Mississippi buses. San Diego brought a bus. So as far as you can. Yeah.
And do you greet these people? Try to get out when you're, or have staff members? Come out and greet
I've
them
probably
regularly?
met almost every bus.
Really?
And then Rob Whalen, my brother-in-law, backs me up. But I tell a story. How we formed the Made in America store, why, and the importance of it, and then we'll show some products. What Americans are making, and they'll come in and enjoy themselves. And again, we might feed them. They might spend an hour to 3 hours there. We had 8 buses was a record within 2 hours. That's 366 people at once. And
really?
And we handle them.
What do you feed them? What's the big American apple pie? I mean, what's more American than apple
Well,
pie?
Chef
Hot
Martha,
dogs?
we call her. They come out and they bring the food, and we kind of have different. But she does garden, farm to table meals. So
that's
really
great.
neat. And they pre-book these. It's like planning a wedding. They're pre-booked usually within a year in advance. Dorothy has them booked up and they're ready to come.
What kind of questions do you get from people that come in on their bus tours? What's the thing do you think that people ask you the most? Is there any one thing?
Yeah, a lot of them, demographic might be 60 to 90 years old, and they wonder, why, how Made in America faded away. Like, why isn't this everywhere? And they're impressed with how many products we've gathered and done the homework for them. Because you come through our doors, we've done all the homework for you. If the glue, the packaging, it all has to be 100% made in America. They love that we support our veterans like we do. Home base for Buffalo Niagara Honor Flight. Tom Petrie and his team does a wonderful, wonderful job. But they love to see that, what exists and how many products in our store, because it gives them hope.
Now, your shirt says the original Made in America store.
Yeah.
Why the original Made in America?
Yeah, because when I opened, I owned General Welding and Fabricating. I had 4 plants. I lost half my business to China back in 08, 09, and 2010, and that's what caused me to open a Made in America store. I said, hey, we don't make a lot of things here. And when I opened it and got all the intellectual properties lined up, I found out I'm the only one in the world that's 100% Made in America store. And I never knew that, but we are the only one. So we're the original. All our intellectual properties, they're all ours. Started out of Elma.
It's just hard to believe, when you think about that. America being as great as it is, and you think that, this is the original Made in America store. Let's get the American flag. Something that I cannot believe, personally. This is just me. I couldn't believe, call me naive, that American flags aren't necessarily all made in America.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought this up because it's one of my big agendas this year. A lot of people don't realize 50% of our American flags are made overseas. Every bus that leaves, I said, can we at least agree that our flag should be made here? We want the right stars, the right amount of stars, right amount of stripes. We don't want made in China on the flag stripe. So I want to make it a national agenda. I want to turn it into a federal law that our American flag should be made here in the United States only. And every country should do that. But a lot of people just can't believe that 50% of our flags are made overseas.
other things too that are made overseas, other things that you see that are American. I mean, I saw an Uncle Sam once. It was a wooden Uncle Sam. I was someplace in the Adirondacks. I still remember this. And I go, oh, look at this Uncle Sam. It had one of those things where the mouth opens up and looked like a puppet. And I looked at the bottom and it said made in Taiwan.
Yeah. When I was first on World News, Sharon Alfonsi went to Niagara Falls first. She's picking up Statue of Liberty, made in China.
Really?
Going right through all the souvenir shops. So we want to change that. Again, we're a distribution house. We have wholesale. We can help stores manage your cash flow, manage your inventory. We can help you get certified 100% made in America products. We'll do all the homework for you. You buy through us, buy through our distribution center. That's something, Joe, we're pushing big this year. Store in store or a wholesale leg, call us, we can help you out.
That's great. Well, for more information and answers to your questions, contact Made in America by calling 716-652-4872 or go to madeinamericastore.com. Sponsorship and promotional consideration for the preceding segment was provided by the following. I'm Joe Chili, and you can listen to me mornings on the Big Wack. Joining us today on Big Wack Buffalo on the Rise is Dr. Salvatore Grattadoria, who is a doctor of audiology.
Correct.
We've spoken before. I've never heard of a doctor of audiology. Now, that's not a play on words.
Yeah.
I've never heard of a doctor of audiology, but and that's interesting in the fact that something that you pursued and not necessarily something that I wouldn't imagine that when you first decided about what you're going to do for a living, you say, I'm going to be a doctor of audiology.
Yeah.
But tell me a little bit about your dad, right?
Yeah. So I've dealt with hearing loss all my life. My dad was a World War II veteran. He was on the USS Ticonderoga. His ship was hit by kamikazes. He had noise exposure damage right from there, and then he got a disease called otosclerosis, as well. So he further lost, his hearing. So I dealt with hearing impairment all my life, and I saw how he suffered with it, and it was just my goal, to be able to help people like him, and hopefully better than he was able to be helped back then.
It's interesting because I remember as a kid, people talking to us, a friend of mine that was blind. Mm-hmm. And they would talk about if you had to be either blind or deaf, which is kind of a terrible thing to think about. But as a kid, you explore all these things. What would you rather be? I can't imagine not being able to hear things. Maybe it's because I've been in the audio business 54 years. Right. But that would be silence to me would be the most frightening thing. Yeah.
Hearing is what connects you to the world. Certainly vision is important, but hearing is how it connects you to other human beings. So, you think about that and how important it was. And you also think about that during, the COVID, the pandemic, where people were isolated. Those people who had difficulty hearing and their only way to hear was by picking up the telephone, and sometimes they couldn't even hear that. They were totally isolated.
I have to laugh because people that have been married for a while, they'll say, a husband and wife will say, "Oh my God, will you stop chewing so loud?" Mm-hmm. It's like this. And I have to chuckle, but when I was growing up, we were growing up as kids, we didn't have cell phones and things like this. We used to read the back of cereal boxes, right?
Right.
You'd sit there, and you'd be like, and then it's, stop munching like that. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about Diversified Hearing itself. What are some of the things that you guys specialize in?
Okay, well, we're really a multifaceted company. So we're diversified hearing, rehabilitation, and balance. So we have, along with audiology and hearing aids, we have physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy as well.
So what kind of physical therapy do you do for hearing?
Okay, it's really not hearing that we do physical therapy for. We do physical therapy for balance-related problems. So you have to remember where your balance centers are in your ears, and so what natural combination of professionals to deal with is audiology, who deals with the ears, and physical therapy, who deals with the body mechanics.
So as you get older, we all realize that our hearing suffers to a certain degree, right? And it's funny because I can remember as a parent early on, I could listen to 2 or 3 things at once. You know, I could be talking to my son or daughter and hear what my wife is saying on the phone to somebody else at the same time. As you get older, I don't know that, it seems to me that you don't diversify those things as well. Is that true?
Yeah, well, a couple of things. You know, hearing acuity diminishes as you get older. It's just part of the aging process. You know, we're wearing glasses because we're of that age. You know, we didn't wear glasses when we were kids. It just happens. But there is also cognitive impairments, you know, that can happen along the way, where it becomes harder and harder for you to multitask.
And, you know, along the same lines, I guess, the fact that your hearing may diminish to a certain degree, and your balance does as well?
And your balance does as well. Do you know that falls are the #1 cause of accidental death in the elderly? So as we get older, it becomes harder and harder to navigate. And so not only do we have that problem of harder and harder to navigate around, but you have other physical problems that when a fall occurs, it can be catastrophic.
What sets you apart from your competition?
Well, I think that the multi-services that we provide, you know, because, you know, there's audiologists who will do dizziness and balance testing, you know, we certainly do. But there's not another practice in, you know, Western New York and maybe even New York State that you can walk down the hallway and be treated by the physical therapist at the same location at the same time.
And you have an anniversary coming up? Not you personally, but I mean, you know.
Yes, we do. 40 years in business next year. So 2024 is our 40th anniversary.
Oh, God bless you. That's great.
Yeah. And along with that, we're opening up a new clinic, you know, too, at 1780 Worley. Should be opened up, you know, next month in January. So that's going to you know, spearhead our 40th anniversary.
So, best way for people to get a hold of you?
Best way is just to call our phone, you know, 716-871-9883, or our website, www.diversifiedwesternnewyork or wny.com.
All right, very good.
Okay.
Great talking to you. Thank you very much.
Nice talking to you.
As always, great to hear you as well.
Thank you.
For more information and answers to your questions, contact Diversified Hearing by calling 716-871-9883 or go to diversifiedwny.com. Sponsorship and promotional consideration for the preceding segment was provided by the following.
Thanks for watching this edition of The Big Wack Presents Buffalo on the Rise. For information on this and other shows, go to our website, bigwack.com, and find out how you can participate on the program if you're a hometown business. I'm Joe Chili. Thanks for watching and listening to The Big Wack, Buffalo's oldie station.
The Big Wack Presents Buffalo on the Rise was sponsored by Dr. Kaplansky Dental Implants. Get new permanent teeth in 24 hours with our exclusive Teeth Now process.